Nerdrotic.com.
Spoilers.
Doctor Strange dies. Well, one of the variants dies,
Yes.
which explains the zombie. But let's launch right into it. The movie's a mess. The movie is a freaking mess. It's very obvious that much of the film was reshot because it has shifting tones. And the two battling tones are Sam Raimi and his personality, which lost to this movie feels like it should have been on Disney Plus. It has a Disney Plus feel. And in addition, they make a big point at the end. It says a Kevin Feige production at the very end of the movie. Yep.
Oh, man.
Kevin Feige production.
Okay, before you get going, I have a theory. Kevin Feige's a producer, been a producer all his life, not very creative dude. Doesn't write, doesn't direct. It probably sticks in his craw a little bit. So he wants to be a creative super bad. Because you know what? Successful people want to be what they can't be. You know, Bob Iger's the same way. Bob Iger was given notes in the fucking Mandalorian. This guy's a weatherman. What the fuck are you giving notes on the Mandalorian for? So I have a feeling, it's gone to his head. So go on.
It's a Kevin Feige production. 15%, I'd say 15, maybe 20% of the movie is like pure Raimi. Like, oh man, this is like stuff even inspired by the Evil Dead films where you're like, this is badass. But that's so little of the film that it's this uneven tone. It's very clear that there was a battle. And here's the problem with the film. If you watched Doctor Strange, like, great movie. I'd like to watch the sequel because I want to see what happens next. Here's the problem. Doctor Strange 2 is not just a sequel to the first Doctor Strange, because they do at least include some of the story elements from the first Doctor Strange movie. It's also a follow-up to WandaVision. It's also a follow-up to No Way Home, Spider-Man No Way Home. It's also a follow-up to Endgame, right? And the events of Endgame. So it's burdened with having to tie up loose ends from all of those things, which makes the sort of video game story, it's not similar to, but it has the same problem of The Rise of Skywalker, where it's like just complete, it's all exposition. We have to do this, and then we have to get this thing, and then after we get the thing, and we have to get it from another universe.
MacGuffins?
And the only way to get it, what's that? The book, I forget the name of the book.
The Darkhold.
Yeah, that book. They have to get that book, and it's in some other universe that they have to jump to using America Chavez. She has a power. It's never explained what her power is. I guess she can punch hard, and then she doesn't even understand what her power does. We were speaking earlier about gravitas. She has none. This actress may as well have been plucked from a Disney Plus show. The actress would be fine in a Disney Plus show, not in a movie. And all of her jokes fall flat. Clearly, the writers thought they were clever. The humor just doesn't work. It doesn't land, right? And I didn't finish watching WandaVision, so I don't know exactly what happened, but whatever. In any case, let me dispel a couple rumors right here. Everything you heard about, like, Deadpool's going to be in it, Tom Cruise plays Iron Man, no one's in it. There are none of those cameos. Wow. They took what was a brilliant concept, a multiverse, and squandered it. There is one sequence. It's like 3 sort of back-to-back scenes with variants, which you've seen that leak. Did you see the
There's some leaks all over
I am aware
Twitter.
Of the leak.
You're aware. Okay, so you saw Black Bolt. You saw
which
Captain
looked terrible.
Carter, the new Captain Marvel, which I actually thought that she's a better Captain Marvel. That actress does have something of gravitas. Like, I think she's better than Brie Larson, 100%. So you've got them, and then most disappointing was John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic. And let me just explain. Okay, let me just explain.
Man, that's what everybody was hoping for, too.
They introduce him. It's the smartest man in the galaxy, Reed Richards, and he sort of stretches down. They couldn't even get the stretching effects are no better or worse than those Tim Story Fantastic
Wow,
films.
that's
man.
And I said this before, but like they perfected him in The Incredibles with Elastigirl.
Exactly. Yep. You've never seen a great screen adaptation, live action of Mr. Fantastic. It's never been done. I could just, in my head, bring up frames of Reed Richards stretching with his torso around Ben Grimm to keep him from beating the shit out of Johnny, right? Like, in my head, there's just so many great poses. And a lot of those poses, if you've seen documentaries about Stan Lee, a lot of those poses are from Stan Lee. Stan Lee was the basis for Reed Richards. Stan Lee was also the basis for J. Jonah Jameson. I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but like, that's why if they're going to try to recast or reimagine the Fantastic Four, I'm 100% against it. It's the first family of Marvel. Can we just keep them pure or set in the 60s? There is like a joke. Doctor Strange makes a lame joke to Reed Richards when he comes in. Didn't you chart in the 60s? That's the joke.
What?
Didn't you chart in the 60s?
Oh.
Yeah, it's pretty lame. So there's this, right? They're the Illuminati, right? Wanda comes in and murders all of them, and in not cool ways. And John Krasinski, because his scenes were so few, he couldn't come up with what his take on Mr. Fantastic was going to be. He plays Reed Richards as Jim from The Office. It's a forgettable performance. And of course, there's some Marvel fans in the audience that are screaming at everything, especially Captain Carter, like, woo, you know. And of course, who do they kill first? All the men.
Yes.
And then the women last longer, and their deaths are cooler deaths because, you know, they're not as stupid as the guys. Yeah. It's so that's it. That's all you get in terms of multiverse stuff. And there's, I mean, we could go deep into the story stuff if you want to, but I feel like you want to save that for FNT. I'm just giving you my impressions. I don't want to, I really,
okay. Is the story more Wanda's or Doctor Strange?
It is more Wanda's. Doctor Strange is kind of like, his story is, and there's a cringe opening wedding scene where, you know, his ex-girlfriend is marrying somebody else. Can you guess who she's marrying? Not who, what kind of person she's marrying. You don't need to say it out loud.
It's the
No, you don't need to, it's okay, Gary. You already know. You already know.
So they cuck Doctor Strange.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Wow. In the opening scene.
In the opening scene. And he's not the Sorcerer Supreme at any point in this film.
No, he never is. He never is.
Wow.
He never is. No.
So I was thinking they would kill Wong. He would, you know, die in a heroic way. Then he would be the Sorcerer Supreme. So you're telling me that not even that. By the end of the film, he's still not Sorcerer Supreme.
Wong is pretty cool in it, actually. I mean, I always liked his character, but like
he's not supposed to be the Sorcerer Supreme.
He's not Sorcerer Supreme.
To be the Sorcerer Supreme. But he's in it, you know, a decent amount of scenes. He doesn't take over or anything. But America Chavez is just so weak. There's this line too that just made me just cringe. Under my breath, I was like, fuck this. So they're bouncing to these different multiverses, and they go to this one multiverse, and she grabs some food. She says this line, she's like, you know, in most universes, food is free. Like a whole reference to like, wouldn't it be better if just every universe was communist and everything was free?
Sure.
Like,
who's going to grow that food?
Yeah,
dipshit?
exactly.
Who's going to go work the farm? You going to go work the farm to grow that food for free?
Yeah,
okay.
It's so in your face. And then they do this just lame ass thing where they go and they show kind of her backstory, right, with her two moms, which is so. It's just
they did it.
They did it. Oh,
so she's not Puerto Rican. She's an alien.
She's an alien. Yeah, from another. There you go. But she's an alien who speaks Spanish. So there you go.
She's from planet Puerto Rico.
Yeah,
just enough representation.
Just enough, I guess.
Puerto Rico's but like, nice. I like Puerto Rico.
They do this thing where they sort of see like a memory or something from their past in this. It's like a shop where you stand on a thing and they show you a memory. So you see her memory and you see Doctor Strange. It's all about him wanting to like find. You can tell he's pining for his ex-girlfriend, right? Like that's kind of the thing, but that's it. That's all that's going on with Doctor Strange. That's all.
He's not trying to fix like the No Way Home shit. He's just pining for his ex-girlfriend while Wanda goes and looks for her fake children and murders a bunch of people for him.
Exactly. So she's looking for her children, but of course she finds a universe where there's already a variant of her that exists. It's all like, couldn't you just date again and make your own kids like in the current universe that you're in? Like you could go and
like the healthy way.
Her vibrator got repaired at the end of WandaVision and just fucked off. Did he not show up again?
Well, I mean,
does Vision show up again in the movie?
No, Vision's not in the movie.
Jesus Christ.
What the fuck?
What?
Yeah. And she's the main baddie. And it's just sort of, I'm just tired of people fighting with light. You know, I just saw the
sky beams and lasers and shit.
Sky beams and light. And there's how is Wanda so powerful? How she could take out effectively what is that universe's Avengers? They call them the Illuminati, and she just takes them all out like that. I mean, they're in the movie less than 10 minutes. It's just it.
She taught herself.
She taught herself
at the end. At the end of WandaVision, she taught herself.
But the movie is it's so wildly like back and forth in terms of tone. The story is it's very much like every character has their moment to be Captain Plot Explainer, right? I have to explain something, which of course none of us care about, right? Like it's not been, the weight of it hasn't really, it doesn't. And I feel like Sam Raimi just got a bad script. I mean, it's the guy who wrote Loki, right? Like,
well, yeah, that explains it. That explains why it's shit.
That would explain it.
Because Loki was shit. And they got the Loki writer, and they didn't bring up Kang. Not once.
Yeah.
In the multiverse movie. In the fucking multiverse movie, they didn't bring up Kang.
If they had built to this, like, the good Marvel movies built up to Endgame, right? That was a decade of building characters, individual stories. They all come together. They overcome challenges. There's conflict. And then Endgame was the penultimate. The multiverse story should have been that. It should have been the end of maybe they make like the story arc like 5 years instead of a decade. Fine. But this is in your Marvel phase 4 and everyone's imagination. Like you saw all the quote rumors, Deadpool's in it, Tom Cruise as Iron Man, like whatever, none of that. Your imagination about what this movie could be is better than the movie turned out.
Oh,
and it's just frustratingly bad. It's also 2 hours and 6 minutes. There is a mid-credit scene, which sets up a part 3. I'm not going to tell you what the mid-credit scene is, but best thing in the whole movie is Bruce Campbell is in the movie.
Fuck yeah.
And used in a way that Sam Raimi always loves to use Bruce Campbell, which is to torture him. Just stay to the end, like with all Marvel movies.
Is Bruce Campbell Mephisto? Just kidding.
That would be amazing.
That would be so funny.
He's an inconsequential character. He's not anyone of weight at all, unfortunately.
No, he's Bruce Campbell. He's never inconsequential. Come on.
But I mean, I could see Sam Raimi going back to Sony and saying, I want to make one of these movies. Give me Toby Spider-Man.
When we were coming back from the Coof, I'm like, Hollywood needs like this really fucking sure thing, like slam dunk sure thing. And I was like, I was close. I was close. I said, make Spider-Man 4 with Sam Raimi. Everybody would show up. Everybody. Nobody would care if it was fucking Spanish flu. They would go to that fucking movie. It was easy money. They did, No Way Home was that film. That's what they needed to do. Dude, the fact that you said that it says the Kevin Feige production at the end says it all. Says it all.
It's like there's two competing tones in the movie. One is Sam Raimi trying to be himself.
Yeah.
And the other tone is this is a Disney Plus show, not a movie. It's a TV show. There's just moments where I'm like, this just feels like Disney Plus. There's something about it that feels small. Then you see Raimi kind of come in with his voice. It's like he's struggling to be a part of the movie that he's making. Every Disney movie is just a Disney movie. It could be made by anybody. And then on occasion, you'll get a director, like a James Gunn that can kind of have his own voice and get away with it. And maybe Taika Waititi a little bit, but, we'll see. Thor Love and Thunder does not look good based on what I've seen. And if Doctor Strange is any indication, I think Thor Love and Thunder is going to be the same. It's going to be Disney Plusified. The Mr. Fantastic thing was really disappointing me because I loved the casting of John Krasinski.
Pulling him out and his first appearance in the MCU is to die. That is terrible.
That is so insulting.
That is fucking terrible. That is terrible. That is a bad story decision.
There's a weird thing where Wanda says, because he talks about how he has kids, and I don't want to go into it too much. I don't want to go into too much detail on spoilers.
Does he beg for his life?
A little, but
no!
Man, they cuck him right in the beginning.
No. It's just like you're like, oh, so that's all the screen time, and just like they just take him out like that. It just like that's the introduction to the Marvel universe, the MCU of Mr. Fantastic.
MCU's done.
It's used in like a terrible way. I'm watching this going like, okay, and they're going to make a Fantastic Four movie in the next 2 years, but we've already seen Mr. Fantastic die. Or they can even use John Krasinski.
I don't think they are.
Yeah, I mean, John Watts like left now, and the rumor is that John Krasinski wants to direct.
I would have left too. He probably found out that, oh, wait a minute, you're going to introduce my character.
Probably saw this
fucking
movie.
Kill him? That's a fundamental non-understanding of storytelling and how audiences react to heroes dying. Once you see him die, they're he's dead in your head. In your head canon. So you see dead guy, like and it shows how much you respect your own fucking material, which is not at all. People sense that. People, especially fans, the ones you rely on, the hardcore fan, which helps your property survive over years and years when there's nothing being made because we're the ones reading the comic books and spreading that word of mouth for free, which is what fans do. And that's the part of fandom that's great. And it's shit you can't buy that all the studios have taken for granted because they don't understand it. They don't respect the fan and they don't give a fuck. And it really shows. And this is like a slap in the face to every Fantastic Four fan.
Do you want to hear there's like a big cameo at the end that is Charlize Theron is in it. And she plays Doctor Strange's girlfriend. What's her name?
Cleo.
Is it Hera?
No, it's Clea.
No, it's Clea. That's it. Yeah. Like I said, I'm a normie when it comes to the Doctor Strange comics. So they really sort of took this storyline, and it should have been like a movie that kind of caps off an arc that they build to, like they did with Endgame. And I feel like we'll never get that high again. You know, that was a once in a lifetime thing that we saw, right? And that's it. That's it. Obviously, you can see that they must have seen No Way Home and thought, well, we have to do something similar to that, but it's not enough. And it's done in such a disrespectful way to those characters. I mean, Anson Mount plays Black Bolt. The one thing I do like about that is they got the costume.
They got the costume right. But like, did they fix the CGI on that? Because his face looked like it was floating around on it.
I will say this. There are a lot of special effects in this movie, and your mileage may vary.
Okay.
Some are good, and some are like, oh, they gave this to someone who was the intern to let him try out. Well, like, so the special effects are very uneven. There is kind of a cool thing where Doctor Strange and this is all Raimi, right? Doctor Strange like reanimates a dead version of himself, kind of controls it from another universe to get into that universe. I don't want to go into it. It's so convoluted, you won't care as you're watching it. The implication was when you saw it, you're like, oh, they're going to do Marvel zombies. Nope, just the one. Just one. You know, I'm an optimist, Gary. You know that about me. You know, until I see it, and I was like, oh man, it'd be so cool to see Tom Cruise as Iron Man, even if he's in it for like 10 seconds. I mean, they could just jam packed it full of cameos because it's the multiverse. Think of what you could do, and they don't do that. And I think it's going to be a disappointment.
Patrick Stewart's in it. Does he die too, Professor X?
Yeah. Like, wait, I'm trying to remember. Yeah.
Wow.
That whole scene, they get rid of everybody. It's just like they introduce the Illuminati and then she takes them all.
I'm glad that people are waking up to the MCU. I'm very happy that they're waking up to something I did not create. They created. I am just simply pointing out that they feel like they can't have any kind of masculinity or heroism at all, because those are tools of the patriarchy. And we can't support that at all because we have to have support for Me Too Time's Up, which was so fucking 4 years ago, by the way. And it ended up being a giant fraud. So, yeah, by the time they can turn this ship around, it'll be too fucking late. And as I've said, Disney will be the last to the change party if they ever bother doing it.
Nerdrotic.com. Please subscribe.
If you like what I do here, please consider subscribing to the channel and liking and sharing the videos. It really does help. And if you did this with your favorite YouTuber as well, I'm sure they would appreciate it as much as I do.